What's up, guys? Welcome to another dark episode. So I'm trying to make the most of this. We're coming up on new moon. I went out last night, coming out again. Tonight I want to try the Lagoon Nebula again. So I did it last year and I got this image, and that was with the 7200 and no tracker. So this year, this time around, I want to try with the tracker and see if I can get some better details out of that. So we're going to get this set up, and for my tracker, I have got my handy dandy Star Adventurer, the 2i Pro package. So I'm actually not going to be using the counterweight tonight. The R6 and the 7200 is light enough that I can get away with just mounting it straight onto here with a ball head, and I much prefer that. So the first thing I need to do is polar align this bad boy, which is behind me. All right, so let me know if you guys would be interested in a star trackers for beginners. This is just going to be a vlog, but if you guys are interested in an actual tutorial on tracking, stacking, you know, that kind of thing, let me know in the comments, and I kind of want to gauge some interest on that. All right, so let's get framed up here. I want to find the North Star and just kind of line of sight it before I start my polar alignment. So I'm going to go ahead and get polar aligned real quick, and then I'll walk you through my setup once I get the camera and lens on there. Okay, so polar aligned. I think that's a pretty decent polar alignment. It's like 3 minutes and change, which for me is not bad. Hey. All right, so power. This is what we're using to power. It's just EcoFlow. This is overkill for sure, but it's what was in my car. We still got 87%. I was out here like for 3 hours last night running it off this, and it's only down to 87%. So that's pretty good. Oh, and I think I was running my fridge for a while earlier today too, from the car.
I have no memory of this.
Yeah, well, this was plugged in there and the fridge was running. All right, things that I'm missing. Camera lady thinks it's really funny when I lose things and miss things and forget things. She's mocking me from behind the camera.
I still submit to the channel to people. There's movie pictures, there might be tea, and I probably forgot something.
Yeah. There goes a bat. Okay, so we got our handy dandy mounty thing. Turn that off real quick. I just want to do one more check to make sure that I'm still polar aligned. So to check my polar alignment, we're going to come in here and grab the SA Console app, and I'm going to come down to Polar Clock Utility. Oh, see, it's a good thing I checked this because this has changed on me from last night. And it does that because, you know, the Earth moves. So I'm going to readjust this just a little bit because now it's showing the dot is on the 0 and yesterday it was on 130. So, okay, let's redo that. Okay, I'm really glad that I decided to check that, double check that from last night because we're using a longer focal length tonight and that would have really sucked. So tonight we are rolling with, I guess we're going with the R5 and the 70 to 200. So what I'm gonna do in order to minimize shake, because you don't want to move this stuff like at all. So I'm gonna do a little bit of finagling here.
Such a good word.
It really is. It really is a good word, finagling. Okay, so that's nice and secure. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this stuff so I'm not, I learned early on the hard way to switch the buttons into the modes you need them, because once it's on there and you're trying to push the button, that's when it starts shaking things. So, all right, stabilizer's off, manual focus is on, focus is full. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this because our target is behind me. Oh shoot. That was not nice and careful. Like, all right, see what I mean? Like I barely moved the tripod, but now I need to double check my polar alignment. All right, hit the lights, camera lady.
I feel like Aziz. This is a muck.
Yeah, it knocked it off quite a bit. All right, so we're back on track. You can turn the lights back on. Okay, so we're back on track. What I'm gonna do now is be very careful. Also, I think I'm gonna add some weight to this. What was that? All right, I'm gonna throw another camera and lens in here. 2470 is nice and heavy. So very carefully, I should have done this before I polar aligned. That helped. That helped a lot. Okay. Camera lady, hit the lights one more time. I'm gonna triple check. Okay, so now that we're hopefully solid, let's try this again. So we're gonna be very gentle again. All right. Now, okay, so now we should theoretically be in business. So I can see Scorpio and there's a giant light in my face. No, you're okay. All right, so now what we got to do is find my target, and I totally forgot what I was going to shoot.
You said you were going to shoot the lagoon.
Oh, right, I'm going to try the lagoon. All right, so first I'm going to dial it in to a ballpark infinity focus, and then we're going to do, hey, look at that, I see stars. Just so I can get my composition, I'm going to do some high ISO stuff. All right, so I'm going to have camera lady turn the light off again so I can get my composition and figure out where the Lagoon Nebula is. Oh wow, I almost hit it first try. Wow, look at that. That was right there. It's in the frame first try.
Did you just tell them to look at that when they can't see your screen?
Yeah, I'll put it on screen. Okay, so this business, that's the first test shot, and we can see the Lagoon Nebula right there. So now I just need to get it in the center of the frame because I'm at 70 millimeters right now. All right, so that is like dead on almost. So now I should be able to go straight to 200. And I'm gonna double check my, because when you do that, you mess up your focus. Ooh, I almost bumped the tripod. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put it in crop mode. Okay, so I've got it all dialed in. We've got the composition, got the Lagoon Nebula right front and center. So now I'm gonna go to the maximum 30 seconds before we switch to bulb mode. And I'm gonna see how well that does. Okay, so this is the first 30-second shot. And what we want to see is no star trails. And coincidentally, there are no star trails. All right, so now what I want to do is go into bulb mode. And I want to see how much more we can get away with. So I'm going to start with 1 minute. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be crazy. I'm gonna start with 2 minutes. I'm gonna bring the ISO down to 800. So it doesn't show you the metering, doesn't show you when you're in bulb mode because you know it doesn't know. So, but based on my mental guesstimations, that's what we're going with. So 2 minutes. All right. So this is the first 2 minute exposure, and dare I say, oh, there is nothing better than knowing that you did an incredible polar alignment, especially after bumping the tripod and re-polar aligning it. This looks sharp. Okay, look here. If I zoom in super far, there is a slightest bit of star trails there. So options are also, it's hard to tell if it's like if the polar alignment wasn't accurate or right now because the wind has actually picked up a little bit, and when you're using longer focal lengths, and I've got the 7200 here, any little bit of wind can move things. So I am going to, on the upside though, this exposure is looking pretty spot on. I'm going to look here at the Trifid Nebula. Some people say Trifid. Do you say Trifid or Trifid? I've always said Trifid, but I haven't really hung out with that many astrophotographers or astronomers that actually know what they're talking about. This is like what I always say though about astrophotography is definitely the most frustrating form of photography that I know how to do. And it's this kind of stuff, this back and forth. So we're zooming in here and this is looking much sharper, albeit with a little bit less detail. So I'm actually going to, let's bump the ISO up to 3200. 30 seconds, f4, 3200 ISO. I think this might be my final. Once you get that dialed in, everything from here on out for the exposures, I don't like to blend separate exposures that are different with, you know, different settings. You can, but I don't like to. So I like to just dial everything in real good and then start with the official data collection. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So when we zoom in here, I mean, that looks good. There's actually a little bit of motion blur there, but that's okay. Look at the Trifid Nebula. That's looking good. All right, so we're gonna leave it here. I am going to start my time lapse. All right, so that's about all we're gonna do here. So let's go back to the studio and check out what we got and go through a little bit of editing and see if we can pull this off. I'm really curious to see if these 30 seconds on the tracker is gonna be any or much better than the 4 seconds that I was doing without the tracker from this shot. So let's go back to the studio. And do not bump the tripod. Back away slowly. Good tripod. Okay. All right, so back at the studio the next day. I haven't even looked at these yet. All I did was get them onto the computer and I'm pretty excited to edit them. So let's jump in here and you can see what I'm doing. This isn't gonna be a full tutorial, so I'm gonna, speed through some of this stuff. But mostly I'm just really curious to see the comparison to the non-tracked version. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open up Deep Sky Stacker. Get my photos in here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add my flats that I just took a little while ago. Okay, so we'll get that going. Oh, for this though, I'm gonna change, since I had the windy issues, I'm gonna change this to 90. All right, everything looks good there. Get this started. All right, so we're done rendering there, and this looks like it has potential. I'm actually kind of excited about this. All right, so let's see if we can bring some detail out of here. First thing I need to do is get this out of 32-bit. Otherwise, we won't be editing very much. All right, so let's do some stretching. All right, now that we can see some data a little bit starting to come in here, it does look like maybe the tiniest pinch of off focus. But I think that's all right. I think we can work with this. And we've got some nebulosity in there. So let's keep working on it. All right, that's looking a little bit better. Let's de-star some of this because there's a lot of stars happening in there. All right, that's looking a little better. I'm gonna take out a few more though. Okay, so maybe not the best job in the world, but that's been de-starred a little bit. Not totally. So now I think maybe we can just, I think I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit more. This is gonna be one of those images that looks nice until you zoom in. So just don't zoom into this. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up there because like I've said on a lot of these other videos, it's definitely, especially when you don't know what you're doing, like me with astro stuff, it's definitely hard to like know when to stop and to overdo it. So I'm gonna quit here and I'm gonna just call this as good as I can get it right now. The beauty of astro though is that you always have these files to go back to. So I might do something in the future with this, but for now I think looking at them side by side, this wider one being without the tracker that I took last year, and then the new one, I think there's just a little bit more nebulosity in the new one, just barely. But it's also, I also used a different camera. The old one was with the R6, I think, and then this new one from the other night was from the R5 in crop mode also, because I just wanted, I knew I was going to crop. I wanted a tighter composition, and that's, you know, that was, so that was a compromise that I made. If I was going to have to crop anyways, then I don't mind using the crop mode in the R5. So I think that goes to show two things really when you're looking at these side by side. One is it's really impressive what you can do without a tracker. And two, it's not so impressive what I can do with a tracker. I think I definitely need to get better at it. I need to, I maybe could have dialed in my polar alignment a little more, or I maybe could have used my weights, the counterweights, to help balance it a little bit more. I think, and also the wind hurt me a bit, but I think I coulda, woulda, shoulda been able to get some longer exposures with 200 millimeters than 30 seconds. And like I showed out there, I did end up getting a couple that were the 200 millimeters, that were the 2 minutes that worked, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing that for an hour. I know I would have just lost most of them due to wind shake and everything. So, you know, I went with the safe route. I don't think it's horrible, but I definitely think I can do better. And that's just something that it's going to require for me more time on the job, messing with, you know, more forcing myself not to be lazy and go out at night. Because that's the biggest thing is like, I have to train myself to be like, no, it's not time to sit down and watch TV and relax. It's time to go to work. It's time to go out and mess with this tracker. I'm super lucky living in New Mexico and living in this southwestern New Mexico where I have all of these incredibly dark skies. You know, this Bortle 2, Bortle 3, Bortle 4 areas are 15, 20 minutes from my house. And if I go an hour from my house, I'll be in Bortle 1, which is the darkest skies in the entire country. So that's really nice, and I'm quite spoiled. So I think I'm going to plan a couple more camping trips this summer to go out there and just stay out all night and really dial this stuff in and try to get more time on the targets and mostly more familiarity with my star tracker. So let me know what you guys think about the whole process. If you guys are interested in like star tracking or like a specific tutorial where I don't do speed edits and all that stuff, where I just a full-on, full-length tutorial on how I'm editing my astro stuff, leave it in the comments below, because I'm still trying to gauge like if there's enough of my audience that's interested in that. But it is something that I would love to do. All right, it's lunchtime, it's tea time. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Questions, comments, leave them down below. Hit that subscribe button for me. Hit the like button for me. That's the best thing you can do for the channel. I super appreciate it if you're still here. It means a lot to me. And stay tuned for more, because I'm definitely gonna try to make the most out of this 2023 Milky Way season. I'm gonna try to get out as much as possible. So I've got some cool camping stuff coming up, landscape, wildlife, astro, all the good stuff for the summer, hopefully to keep me busy, and I'll see you out there. Thanks for watching.